After I met with the accident, there were a lot of people who told my parents, and being the only child, no siblings. Even today, people say that, you were just one film wonder. Even after Nachi Mayuri, when I sat at home for almost about 6 years without work. So there were times when I had to be really rude and say that, excuse me, I've just lost a leg. I've not lost my brains. See, I was too young to even know what a national award meant at that time, I just went because I was jobless. I met Ekta. She held my hand and she said, Sudhaa ji, believe in me. 6 months later, I will talk to you and you will be setting a trend. It is almost 28 years. We got married in 1995. Because the only thing I told my husband when I got married is, I don't have a brother. So you have to be the son to my parents.
So hi everyone, welcome to midday.com, and joining us today is someone I was first introduced to in my school textbook, and of course she went to inspire an entire generation. Hi ma'am.
Hi, how are you?
Good. So happy to have you. Of course, we have Sudhaa Chandran with us. Like we said, a lot of kids were actually introduced to you through our textbooks. You were an inspiration
Yes.
for so many. So at a young age, having achieved this, how did that feel really?
Well, actually, when I started, I never thought that I would be, inspiring a generation or maybe the entire country. See, At that time, it was a very individual fight. See, I had just had to prove myself. So the first point was that I had to prove myself. I had to prove a point to my parents. I felt somewhere they were very dejected in life, very disappointed in life.
Yeah.
So initially, these thoughts never came to my mind. My only thing was, Sudha, you have to do something to make your parents feel very proud of you.
Yeah.
And the rest of it, I left it to God, and it was only my hard work and determination. And my focus was very straight. I mean, I knew that, it's not going to be an easy journey. It's going to be a very turbulent journey. But I only pray to God that give me the strength never to give up.
Yeah.
See, so somewhere, we as individuals put in a lot of hard work. But then they always say कि ऊपर वाला decide करता है कि उस पत्थर को हिलाना है या नहीं हिलाना है.
Yeah.
So with all due respects to our efforts, our will, our determination, the final master stroke hota hai, that comes from above.
Yeah.
And he also helps only those people who stay focused in their lives.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing. It's only after I did this, I achieved this, is when I realized, because I met a lot of people. Like you said, you know me through the textbooks.
Yeah.
So for me, when I met people and they said, ma'am, you have inspired not us, but the entire generation.
Yeah.
So that was the time when things started, I started realizing the fact that I had actually contributed so much, to the betterment of a society, to the betterment of a generation.
Yeah. And like you said, you have undergone a lot at a young age. Like a normal person
Yes.
would get rejected, but of course you only became stronger. So what gave you that strength?
See, Natasha, I had no choice. See, my case was beggars have no choice. When something is thrown upon you at a tender age of 13,
Yeah.
see, you don't know why it was thrown upon you. See, if you had lived a long life, then they say probably you must have done some wrong things in life, and that is karma. And people try to tell me that it is your past life karma. But at the age of 13, I couldn't understand all this. My question was, why me?
Correct.
Why me? And I kept asking this question. Then I'm asking this question even now, for which I've got no answer.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get into that league of saying that, well, it was your past karma. I don't know. See, I'm not connected with my past karma. My point is, why should I suffer in this life?
Yeah.
And there was a very nice person whom I met. Said, instead of asking the question why, ask a question to yourself and say, why not? So that is what I started working on. Why not I do this? Why not I, transform my failure into a success? So that is where the transformation within me started. And the main reason why I wanted to do something was, like I told you, after I met with the accident, there were a lot of people who told my parents, and being the only child, no siblings. So their entire focus was, and coming from a very middle class family,
Yeah.
the parents always feel there are certain, dreams that they couldn't, there are certain genres which they couldn't achieve. They want to see it being achieved through their children.
Yeah.
So my father and mother's entire focus was on me, saying that my mother wanted me to be a dancer. My father wanted me to become an IAS officer or an IFS officer. So there were too many responsibilities on my shoulder at that point of time. So that was the time when I said, this should not have happened to me, because I saw my parents' dream crashing. And I felt very upset and dejected that I could not live up to the expectations of my parents. So for me, at that point of time, to start dancing was only and only to make my parents feel very proud of me, never feel dejected, never feel felt, they should never feel let down by God. So for me, at that point of time, it's like, Sudha, do something that your parents will walk out with their heads high up in society. That was the only thing for me.
I was also recently speaking to Sonali Bendre ma'am, and she said the same thing, that a lot of people come to offer sympathy, but you don't need sympathy. Otherwise, she would never be able to come out of the situation. And I think it's the same with you.
Sympathy is a very dangerous word, let me tell you.
Yeah.
We keep talking about, you need to be sympathetic. But my point is, at that point of time, if you succumb to sympathy, you will never come up.
Exactly.
So for me, it was more of a defense mechanism. Basically, I always say, like my father always told me, he says, the family will stand by you. But ultimately, it's your fight. He used to say, I can take the horse to the river to drink water, but whether it wants to drink or doesn't want to drink, again, depends on the horse's mentality and mental ability.
Correct.
So somewhere I knew that I had imbibed my father's and mother's that strength to fight things. So probably, the genes that was within me, and thanks to my parents from their upbringing, I never, even today, I would never give up a battle saying that I won't fight it. My mother always used to say, give it a shot. Kya hoga? Max to max, kya hoga? You will lose the battle, but never have the regret that you never tried it.
And ma'am, when you did make a comeback, of course, as a dancer, so did you see people's perception changing towards you? Like all the same people, who kind of came to offer sympathy, and now you were, the star. So did you see that perception change?
Yes, see, that anger was always there within me. They say that should never take over you in life.
Yeah.
But yes, somewhere when people said, "Oh, what happened? This should not have happened," there are a lot of people who try to be very sympathetic to you, but you can read between lines, and God has, see, that the sympathy is not actually sympathetic. There's also a provocation. There is also, trying to say, "Oh, you want to do this, but ab kya ho gaya?" So somewhere, if you're intelligent enough, you can read between lines. And yes, that was a very major provoking factor in my life, because there were a lot of people who said, even today people say that, you were just one film wonder. Even after Nachi Mayuri, when I sat at home for almost about 6 years without work, people said, I think you're very intelligent. You should do the IAS or the IFS. And in India, I always say, free advice is something that comes knocking at your door. People have got a lot of time to advise you, whether you want it or you don't want it. So there were times when I had to be really rude and say that, excuse me, I've just lost a leg. I've not lost my brains. So I know how to think. And if at all I go wrong, I have my parents who will teach me or track me to the right route, and they will lead the path. So I said, I don't need your help. Thank you so much. I said, better you take care of your house. Don't come and try to interfere into my household things.
Film Mayuri also won a national award. So which is also, a big thing, of course. So any memories of that time?
See, I was too young to even know what a national award meant at that time, See, basically, I was not into a career. Mayuri happened. I got a national award. So for me, it was like, acha, film is a hit. Okay. Yeah. I got a national award. Okay. It's only when I came into the industry and I realized that, oh my God, I've got a national award, which is such a big thing.
Yes.
So I realized the importance of it much later in my life. So probably that euphoria never set into me. Maybe that is the reason I'm still grounded. I was never carried away or never swayed by that success.
But ma'am, like you said, you did a lot of films and reality shows. But do you feel the characters you offered didn't really do justice to the kind of talent you had later in life?
See, I don't know whether my talent was higher or the roles that I got was not right.
Yeah.
But somehow I just attribute it to time. My films didn't do well at that time. Okay, no issues.
Yeah.
But today, the same industry has accepted me in a very different mode. See, probably then I was just a brother, a sister character, a bhabhi character. People said, "Arey yaar, bahut bichari types hai." But the same industry, the same people accepted me as the style icon. They accepted me as the best negative. All that next door girl image was all flown out of the windows. So I think you need to wait for your time. You should never react. You should never get dejected saying that, that, "Arey, ye kya ho gaya?" And I have been very grounded. See, I do have that resentment. I do have that anger in me.
Yeah.
But I make sure that it comes out at the right time. It has to be spoken at the right time. Only then it has its values. And for me, luckily, I never had to speak up because God gave me that opportunities and He gave me that phase where my work spoke to all that I had undergone. So I think, I mean, I didn't have to become that hard or rude or arrogant. No, I always left it to time and I left it to God. And for all that people said that, oh, she's just one film wonder, the same people came up and gave me awards as the best negative.
Yeah.
I was recognized in public by the same industry. So I'm thankful. I said, where there are a bunch of people who don't accept you, there is a bigger group which is ready to welcome you. So for me, that matters more.
Talking about style, we can't not mention Ramola Sik, which I think the styles, people still remember the bindis and the saris.
Yes.
So what was your reaction when you first saw the look?
No, in fact, first time when I met Ekta, nothing was planned. Nothing was planned.
Okay.
I mean, I just went because I was jobless. When I got an offer from Balaji Telefilms is when my husband said, he says, cut off all the other work, do one good serial. Because Balaji Telefilms is a filmmaker's company. Jeetu Saab has been in the industry for donkey's years, whom we have looked upon as an actor, as a human being, as a professional. So for me, when I was offered, something from Balaji Telefilms, one, I didn't have work. Two, looking at the background of the production house. So for me, that was very important. I went there, I met Ekta. And when the story began, and the narration was from Ramola Sik aspect. So I kept wondering, I said, what are they talking about? A negative style icon? I said, ma'am, okay, I mean, the story is very beautiful. For the first time, we're doing a social thriller. But where am I? Am I playing Shaina or what is the role? Oh, who's playing Ramola? Looked up at me and she said, Shaina is only 25. So obviously the role is not yours, ma'am. So I said, then who? She said, Ramola Sik. I said, ma'am, are you kidding? I said, Ekta ji, I don't even know what a style icon is. I come from a very middle class Brahmin family. I have never moved in that circle of entrepreneurs and Delhi and, a business magnate. I said, sorry, ma'am, I think you're casting wrong. So let me leave. She held my hand and she said, Sudhaa ji, believe in me. 6 months later, I will talk to you and you will be setting a trend. And that is the foresight of Ekta that I still salute.
Yeah.
And true, within 6 months, Ramola Sik was a name people loved to hate. I mean, I went to a jeweler's shop. I picked up a ring which had a cross. It was just that small, with a diamond in the center. And the jeweler guy tells me, he says, thank you, madam. हमारी इतनी बिक्री हो रही है. I said, किस चीज की? I said, आपकी अंगूठी की. I said, क्या? मैंने कहा उस टाइम पे मेरे पास उतने ही पैसे थे इसलिए मैंने वो सबसे कम वैल्यूड वाला एक रिंग मैंने लिया था. Because I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
But that became a turning point. Then my jewelry, which I had picked up in college time, जिसकी कीमत शायद 20, 25, 50 रुपए की थी, that became a success. When nothing was available, I used to use the curtain hangers around my neck. That became successful.
Wow, okay.
So, and I used to go to the beauty parlor and they said, Ramola Sik makeup. I said, हो क्या रहा है? So see, it is that time which works for you.
Yeah.
And somebody who trusts you.
Correct.
God sends a person to answer all your questions. And for me at that time, it was Balaji Telefilms, it was Ekta. And I enjoyed that phase. Even today, when people say, I and my husband used to travel as Mr. and Mrs. Sikkim. Because at that time, there was no Aadhaar card, there was no proof. So I used to travel for the events in flights as Mr. and Mrs. Sikkim. और मैं हमेशा बोलती थी, अरे यार flight अगर crash हो गया, तो पता नहीं पैसे किसको जाएगा. There is no Ramola Sik's account. So that is the way I used to, but I lived in that glory. That was one of the best phases that I had ever gone through. That was a moral booster for me.
And ma'am, you have also had a very interesting love story coming from two different communities and now 28 years of marriage.
Yes.
How does that feel? Because, you have spoken about how you had to convince your family because two different communities and now, of course, so many years together. So.
It is almost 28 years. We got married in 1995. And I knew my husband 9 years before that because we struggled together. Wow. We were best of friends. So, in fact, even today, I would not call Ravi as my husband. He's my best friend. When you consider your life partner as a husband, there are limitations in your talks. But when he's your bum chum, you can talk to him anything under the sun. Like for me, I can come and tell him कि boss आज ये हो गया, आज वो हुआ, आज उसने ऐसा बोला. मैंने ऐसा बोला, तो my husband will listen and he's a very patient listener. I am the talkative one.
Huh.
He is like a rock of Gibraltar. He's like my father. He stands like he stands like a rock behind me. And he will always tell me, if you don't know how to individually deal with a person, and if you feel you need my help, I'm always there. But don't bank on me. Learn to fight. It's your individual fight because you have it in you. So don't unnecessarily involve me in matters which I'm not supposed to get involved. So that always gives you the strength. Only when I feel I'm at crossroads is when I go back to him and say कि Ravi आज ऐसा हो गया. He says तू ऐसी जगह पे होती तो तू क्या करती? And I would say that this is what I want to do. And he'll say ठीक है, ये सही है. But if he feels I'm wrong, he says Sudha ये नहीं, तू वो कर ले. शायद वो तेरे लिए better. So he's a guiding lamp. And of course, coming from two different, north and south, they say.
Huh.
It's actually a north and south. Yeah. But they say north and south combos always work. They have always worked.
Yeah.
And for me, it was beautiful because my father believed in me. So even when the marriage had to happen. So the first thing what I told my dad was that, you're looking out for alliances for me. And I don't want to get into that typical cult of getting married, producing children, not working tomorrow, killing my desires, So my father said, you like the boy? Are you confident that you will be happy with him? He says, I don't know the boy, but I know you and I trust you. And it is 28 years of my marriage, touch wood. My father was so happy with him because the only thing I told my husband when I got married is, I don't have a brother. So you have to be the son to my parents. And the promise that he made in 1995 till 2021 when I lost my dad, I think he was the son to my mother and my father. And I couldn't have asked God for anything more. I think I'm a truly blessed child, God's chosen child, that he may have given me a lot of problems in life, but he has compensated much more than what I could have asked. And today when we see serials, in fact, there is a new serial coming up in colors, I think. When we saw Chennai Express, when we were sitting in the theater, my husband says, yeah, देख तेरी और मेरी कहानी चल रही है. And then it was Hame Rai Pyare Ke, in which my father acted as Julie's father. So he used to come home and tell me, he says, you know what, Sudha, the marriage that I could not conduct of yours is, I'm going to conduct Julie's marriage in a typical South Indian style. Wow. And he was so happy about it. Yes. Yeah. I think there were a lot of films which have been made with a North-South combo. Yeah. So I think it's quite okay. I think it is just a matter of adjustment, irrespective of the fact that आप South के हो या North के हो, two best people meet, they decide to live together, they decide to travel the journey together, irrespective of the fact whether it's good, bad, ugly. Because the end point is you love being with each other. So I think that was the route, the path that we chose, and touch wood. We have been a blessed couple.
Also, ma'am, being a dancer yourself, today there's so much competition. Any advice that you would like to give people who are, hoping to make it as a dancer?
I think today dancing as a profession is being accepted. See, in our time, when we said that we wanted to become dancers, people used to walk up and ask, ठीक है dance तो करती हूँ, इसके अलावा क्या करती हो? But today it's not so. If you say, I am pursuing dance as a career, and people say, wow, बहुत अच्छी बात. So that is the difference. I'm so happy that dance has finally found a place as a very good occupation or as a profession, which is being accepted by the society at large. Yes, for the young aspirants who are coming up, they are very, very lucky that they are getting wonderful platforms to exhibit their talent. But my point is, with all the popularity that you gain, being reality shows, after that what? There are a lot of kids who have actually sunk into oblivion. There is no talk about them. See, many a time when I'm seeing reality shows, me and my husband, because I'm a great fan of reality shows, I don't miss any reality shows, be it singing, be it dancing. And I genuinely follow the participants. I truly follow the participants. So I always, when we're just sitting and thinking, we say, अरे उसका क्या हो गया जो उस टाइम पे जीती थी वो तो कहीं दिख ही नहीं रही है. See, my point is, having given that much of hype, at least make sure that, at least go back and find out, which I don't know whether they are doing or not. Maybe they are doing it. I don't know. But my point is that they should not go back to that harsh reality, where they again have to struggle through their lives. And again, when they feel that, oh, dancing is not a profession that we can actually take on because my family needs the money. See, today, with all due respects to the professions, money is very important to run a family. If these kids are coming here, they're being introduced to this make sure that they also get or they're getting placed to pursue that goal of theirs, which is very important. So that is the only concern that I have. But otherwise, I'm so happy that dancing as a profession has finally found its place. And what a place. It's standing tall and high.
Not just acting, you've also, been a voice for the specially abled when they are mistreated, especially at airports, like you tweeted.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's something you have used to raise a voice. So do you see the difference?
In fact, I'm shocked because they say that India is a country where the laws, it takes a lot of time for the laws to be executed. But no, like this incident happened in the airport. By the time I landed in Hyderabad, and I had the civil aviation minister tweeting to me, his personal messages came to me, the CISF top-notch people who came and met me in Hyderabad and assured me. And immediately, there was a law which was passed by Supreme Court that without the permission of the specially challenged, you cannot torture them.
Yeah.
But in spite of that, I saw that in Indigo, the airlines, that was a very sad thing, which again was taken over immediately. Again, thanks to the social media. I'm so happy that you people as journalists are playing such a responsible role in the society, to bring forth these things and enlighten people that, boss, this is going wrong and we need to rectify it. Because after that incident, when I started flying, there were passengers in the flight, ladies who walked up to me and said, ma'am, thank you, ma'am. You are an epitome of strength. You give us the guts to speak our heart out. So I think my dad always used to say, you're born with a purpose, Sudhaa. Never choose to ignore that purpose. When the time is right and when you have to stand up for the fraternity or for your people, don't be scared. If you are right, you don't have to be scared. Stand up for it. And it was a very simple appeal to the Prime Minister. And I'm so happy that I'm living in a country where my Prime Minister hears my voice as a common man. And today I am so proud and blessed to be an Indian. So, and I think I will use this characteristic of mine to definitely stand up for people, for a community at large, to make sure and ensure that they have no issues in such matters. And they can never be looked down upon.
You're also part of successful shows like Nagin, which is, one of the top rated shows right now. So how does that feel? Like, you're finally getting the due that you deserve?
Well, see, even when I was doing Down South, there was a lull and people used to ask, "Arey, kahan chali gayi aap? Hindi mein dikh nahi rahi ho." Again, Nagin happened. Again, it was Ekta Kapoor. Again, it was Balaji Telefilms. And then Yamini became a household name that people still love. Like, I'm surprised that in a series where it's just Nagin, Yamini has always been a character which cannot be ignored. They always said, ki Nagin theek hai, but Yamini to dhamal hai. See, so I think, with so much of competition and 35 years of being in the industry, you still stand among the youngsters and stand tall, high, and with a lot of dignity. So I think these are things this is what you create for yourself. And I always feel in television, I'm a very bankable actor.
Absolutely.
Anybody who walks up to me and says, "Arey Sudha ji hai na, chal nikal degi yaar, nikal jayega." वो एक नाम कमाना आज के तारीख and to keep it alive for the last 35 years is not a joke.
Absolutely.
Because my contemporaries या मेरे बाद कितने लोग आए, but जो role सुधा चंद्रन के लिए है वो आज भी सुधा चंद्रन के लिए.
Correct.
I think I am very fortunate that way. Up to out of choice, I keep saying, no, I want to reduce my work. I want to do good work. So, and my husband always keeps saying, this is sirf baaton mein hai, kaam mein nahi. You will still work 24 hours. Like I shuttle to Hyderabad, come back, shoot here, go back to Hyderabad. He says, ये तो थमने वाला नहीं है. So I said, कि चलो यार, जब तक ऊपर वाला गाड़ी जब तक चल रही है चलने दो.
And finally, how does it feel working with the younger lot? You have Tejasvi Prakash now as the new Nagin. So how is it working with him?
It's good, nice. I always say, but I've been a very professional person. I just go do my work and get out. So मैं ज़्यादा involved नहीं होती हूँ. Nor do I get into scripting because my job is to just deliver. So that has been my principle right from, donkey's days to now, and it will be the same. Yeah. So I don't get into I go to the sets, apna scene khatam hua, jao makeup room mein baitho. But yes, today's generation is a very interesting generation, very focused. Yes, but only thing, whether their journey is that long is a big question. Because what happens is, jab ek nikalta hai to dusra aa jata hai. So somewhere if you see like Aruna Rani, you can still say that Aruna Irani. You talk about Bachchan Saab, it's only Bachchan Saab. So that era has continued from then to now, and there are no replacements for them.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, आज के generation में क्या होता है कि you have the breed of new generations coming in, and they're so focused and they're so, prepared for the industry. The generation is moving fast. So it's always a pleasure working with the new generation. You get to learn a lot from them. Yeah, but the only thing is कि आज जो दिखता है वो कल नहीं दिखता है. So, so we want the younger generation to keep proving themselves so that they stay around for a longer period of time.
And it was lovely having you, ma'am. Thank you for doing this.
It's a pleasure talking to you, and
Same
lots of
here.
love. Thank you.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.